On News Hour tonight, Boko Haram attacks Borno, Yobe communities as troops kill 50 terrorists in counter-attacks. Court okays Nnamdi Kanu's elite witness list as police justifies Showere's arrest in court. President Tinubu charges new INEC boss Amupitan to conduct credible, acceptable polls. And on the foreign scene, WHO reports catastrophic hunger crisis in Gaza despite ceasefire. Hello, good evening and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa and thank you so much for joining us. Now we begin the news with insecurities. Suspected Boko Haram and Islamic State West African province, ISWAP, terrorists have launched multiple attacks across 5 communities in Borno and Yobe State. The communities are Mafa, Dikwa, Marte, and Ajiri in Borno and Katarko in Yobe. According to local and security sources, the insurgents attacked a military checkpoint at Mafa. Also, the insurgents were said to have overrun the military barracks in the town and looted arms and ammunition. However, it remained unclear whether there were casualties on the side of the military, but a top security source confirmed the killing of many terrorists during the encounter. A local source also said although no civilian life was lost, the assailant, however, looted foodstuffs and other commodities and burnt down the transporting vehicles. Similar attacks were also recorded in other towns, including Marte, Dikwa, Ajiri in Borno and Katarko in Yobe State. Meanwhile, troops of Operation Haddon-Kai have killed more than 50 terrorists and repelled multiple coordinated attacks on military locations across Borno and Yobe State in what has been described as the biggest blow against insurgents in 2025. The Nigerian military said the simultaneous attacks occurred between midnight and early hours of Thursday when terrorists launched assault on troops' positions in Dikwa, Mafa, Gajibo, and Katarko, situated within Sector 1 and 2 of the Joint Operations Area. The Media Information Officer of the Joint Task Force Northeast, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, in a statement on Thursday said Maiduguri said the troops fought gallantly and professionally, repelling the attacks and inflicting devastating losses on the terrorists. According to him, troops also recovered 38 AK-47 rifles, 7 PKT machine guns, 5 RPG tubes, 2 GPMGs, hand grenades, and thousands of assorted rounds of ammunition after the clash. And now joining us via phone call from Borno, our Bureau Chief Hamisu Matazu is joining us now to give us an update on the incident in both states. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening.
All right, so what else can you tell us about the attacks in Yobe and Borno State?
I think majorly you tell everything that happened in all those locations. What I will only add is that the community, the people that deserted those communities have started returning to those areas. And just a few hours ago, the Borno State Governor, I think, came back. He was on trip abroad, and I don't know, he made his way back to Maiduguri and moved to Mapa, one of the areas that were attacked, I think, to assess the situation and see maybe what he can bring to maybe assuage the feelings of the residents. Then also in most of these communities, most of these communities were resettled recently after years of living in IDP camps. Some of them are even refugees from the neighboring countries like Cameroon, Niger, and other places. They returned back and started their life afresh. And unfortunately, this incident happened. And many of them are expressing fear that they don't want a repeat of such attacks that sent them away years back to restart all over again. So I think this is the latest of the attack, and the military said that they are still on the chase of the wounded insurgent, because based on the statement by the military, they killed about 50, they said over 50, and more than 70 were injured. And they said they are still counting because they are on the hot chase of the insurgents. So I think this is the latest part of it.
Okay, so how are the people, especially those that are affected in the community, responding to this situation?
Well, the latest attack had to the string of assaults in recent days, because if you remember very well, on Friday, 7 soldiers, including a commanding officer of 222 Battalion, was killed in one of the clearance operations they went on in Bama local government area. And, a Friday before last, there was also an attack along Maiduguri Damaturu Road in Gamdu, specifically where a military barrack was attacked, and unspecified number of military were killed. So people are apprehensive that there was a renewed attack in those, especially in Borno State and the neighboring Yobe State. With that, many people expressing fear that, especially those that return to the returnee community, saying that their life is in danger. Yeah, that's what I can say.
All right, thank you so much for your contribution, Ms. Matazu.
All right.
Thank you. And now we'll move on to more stories. Santarukaku, a community in eastern Kankara along the Kankara-Katere-Gora Road, is still reeling from years of devastating banditry. The once thriving farming settlement is now grappling with severe shortages of food, water, education, and healthcare as residents try to rebuild their lives after decades of fear and hardship. Trust TV's Abdullah Yamadi visited the resilient villagers to assess the impact of the recent peace accord and how they are coping with the current realities. His report.
The people of Santarakaku, mostly farmers, once harvested hundreds of bags of grain each season. Today, many depend on charity for survival. Elderly men in their 70s and 80s have been displaced from their ancestral homes. Women have been widowed, violated, and impoverished by years of relentless attacks. The community of over 10,000 residents is now left with dilapidated infrastructure, a broken primary school, no health facility, and inadequate access to clean water. The only functional school block built over 5 decades ago is in severe disrepair. The building, with 2 classrooms, accommodates over 800 pupils, while primary 1, 2, and 3 share one room, and primary 4, 5, and 6 are squeezed into the other, all sitting on bare floors. Indeed, we have been in a miserable situation. Our means of livelihood were destroyed, and we have lost almost everything to banditry. Once it's 4 p.m., we live in fear. Many of us are sick and traumatized. We are pleading for government intervention. Access to health care remains a distant dream. The absence of a clinic forces residents to travel several kilometers, often on foot, to the nearest health center in Gangara town. Water scarcity adds to their suffering as the community relies on a single hand pump, forcing residents to queue for hours each day just to fetch water. We suffer from acute water shortage. The only hand pump is not enough. People wait for hours daily just to fetch water, wasting valuable time. After years of banditry, we still have no water or health facility. It takes hours to reach a hospital in Gangara, about 10 kilometers away. A woman recently died on the way to the hospital. We are begging for water. Water is life. The plight of Santar Kaku mirrors the condition of many rural communities across Katsina State still recovering from the trauma of banditry. For these communities, peace is not just a luxury, it is a last resort for survival. Decades of insecurity have destroyed homes, livelihoods, and hope, leaving behind a people desperate for government intervention and reconstruction support. Experts say rebuilding essential services such as education, healthcare, and water supply will help restore confidence and give renewed hope to the long-suffering people of Katsina's farming communities. Abdullahi Izuma Yamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Our President Bola Tinubu has sworn in Professor Josh Amupitan as the new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Professor Amupitan took the oath of office at about 1:50 p.m. on Thursday at the Council Chamber of the Presidential Villa, Abuja. His swearing-in brings to an end debates that had been stirred up after the National Council of State endorsed his nomination 2 weeks ago. Kendi Amodu reports.
It's been a rocky 2 weeks for Professor Josh Amupitan, who until he was thrown into the limelight was Deputy Vice-Chancellor at the University of Jos. In those 2 weeks, his life had been put under the microscope with all sorts of conspiracy theories about how his appointment would undermine the electoral process. The new INEC chairman withstood the attacks with grace and was confirmed by the Senate following a rigorous screening session on October 16. On Thursday morning, the new INEC chairman arrived at State House, Abuja, dressed in a white agbada paired with a gold cap. Ironically, one of the challenges laid before him by President Tinubu was the need to protect the integrity of Nigeria's elections and electoral process.
Your nomination for the important role and the subsequent confirmation by the Senate is a testament to your capacity and the confidence reposed in you by both the executive and the legislative arm of government. The significant achievement marked the beginning of a challenging yet rewarding journey, and I trust that you will approach your responsibilities with the highest level of integrity, dedication, and patriotism.
Professor Amupitan is consistent about his vision for INEC. He says his focus will be on strengthening the provisions of the Electoral Act to address inconsistencies in election timelines and promote credibility in the process.
Okay, as we are aware, I've just taken the oath of allegiance and also the oath as the chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission. So I will reaffirm what I have just taken, that I'm going to defend the Constitution and the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as far as it relates to the electoral system. And like the President said, I was given a clear charge to ensure credible, fair and free election. Not just that I will ensure that that is done, I'm also going to engage all the stakeholders, because no matter how you set the barometer and the level of success, you still need all the stakeholders.
Amupitan succeeds Professor Mahmood Yakubu, whose tenure as INEC chairman officially ended recently. He thus becomes the sixth substantive head of the electoral body since its establishment. He's expected to take over immediately after his swearing in and begin the transition process at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amudu, Trust TV News.
And now to legal matters. Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court, Abuja, has disclosed that the witness summons requested by Nnamdi Kanu to be issued against the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and 22 others to give evidence in his terrorism trial have been signed and are ready for dispatch to the listed witnesses. Others whose summons have been signed and ready for delivery are Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and two former chiefs of army staffs, General T.Y. Danjuma and Tukur Buratai. They are part of notable Nigerians listed by Kanu to be compelled by the judge to appear in court to give evidence in the terrorism charges slammed against him by the federal government since 2015. Justice Omoto announced in the open court on Thursday that he had given effect to Kanu's request, signed the witness summons, and that they are available for him to collect and serve on the said witnesses as required. The judge directed Kanu to pick up the witness summons and serve them individually as required by law to ensure quick response of the witnesses. The Nigeria Police Force on Thursday explained why activist politician Omoyele Sowore was arrested. Force Public Relations Officer Benjamin Hundeyin said Showore's arrest was to ensure fairness in the prosecution of those involved in Monday's Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest in Abuja. Hundeyin disclosed this while addressing journalists in Abuja. He assured that Sowore will not be detained beyond the legally stipulated period, adding that he would be arraigned.
Today, Sowore has been arrested by the Nigeria Police Force. And you would ask, why was he arrested? It is very simple. The 13 people that were arrested previously all gave their statements, and there is a constant in all of their statements. Every one of them mentioned that one Omoyele Sowore led them into a restricted area in contravention of the court order. So it would be most unfair to charge some people to court and leave the person that led them to commit that more like their leader, the lead protester who told them and took them into the restricted area. And that's why the spirit of fair play and to ensure that justice is served.
Now, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, says investigations into the alleged corruption of a former governor of Delta State, Ifeanyi Okowa, still remains active, debunking the allegations that he is being shielded because he defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. The anti-graft agency said justice will be served on his case, emphasizing that no suspect enjoys immunity from investigations or prosecutions because of political alignment. The chairman of the EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, made this clarification during a press briefing which held at the headquarters of the commission to commemorate his second anniversary in office. Okowa had in November 2024 been arrested by the anti-graft agency over the alleged diversion of 1.3 trillion in oil derivation funds. The former governor and his successor, Sharif Oberewuri, defected from the People's Democratic Party to the ruling All Progressives Congress in April 2025. After their defection, some Nigerians, both online and offline, accused the commission of shielding the former governor because of his alliance with the government at the center. Now, leader of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, says his movement remains open to alliance with leaders from any party, including the APC, PDP, or ADC, provided prospective partners demonstrate credibility and a clear commitment to social justice. Kwankwaso, speaking in an interview with the BBC, said the NNPP will consider merging with supporting any candidate deemed eligible, but warned that the party would resist alliance with politicians who lack concrete plans to address the country's pressing problems. He listed the party's priorities as empowering the poor, educating youth, and tackling insecurity across the country, citing volatile hotspots such as Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, and parts of Kaduna. Kwankwaso criticized what he described as an elite class that has abandoned struggling communities while enriching itself. He also dismissed reports of internal strife within the NNPP, saying efforts to destabilize the party, including more than 1,000 court cases lodged against it, had failed. Now, the Social Democratic Party has expelled its former national chairman, Shehu Gabam, and several top officials, including national youth leader Ogbonna Chukwuma Uchechukwu, over alleged misconduct, financial misappropriation, and abuse of office. The decision was announced on Thursday in Abuja following a meeting of the National Working Committee, which adopted the findings of the party's disciplinary committee and a subsequent white paper that reviewed allegations against the affected officers. Addressing journalists at the party's national secretariat, the National Publicity Secretary, Rufus Ayenigba, said the explosion was the outcome of months of investigation and disciplinary proceedings. According to Ayenigba, the move followed the adoption of the report of the disciplinary committee and a subsequent white paper which reviewed the findings and recommendations on the allegations brought against the affected officers. He recalled that the NWC had earlier suspended Gabam, Uchechukwu, and the National Auditor, Mr. Clarkson Nadi, on June 24, 2025, after a prime facie case of misconduct, financial impropriety, and gross abuse of office was established. You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up, Yenagoa community protests abandoned bridge, says project site now a death trap. There's some more on return. Just stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is News Hour on Trust TV. In case you missed it, here's a recap of our top stories again. We told you that Boko Haram attacks Borno, Yobe communities as troops kill 50 terrorists in counterattacks. And court okays Nnamdi Kanu's elite witness list as police justifies Showerist arrest in court. Moving on, residents of Akemfa community in the Yenagoa local government area of Bayelsa State have accused the Bayelsa State government, the Niger Delta Development Commission, and the Shell Petroleum Company of Nigeria of neglecting their community for over 2 decades. The residents made the allegation during a protest over an abandoned bridge project, which they said had become a death trap, claiming about 15 lives over the years. The report.
The protesters, carrying placards with various inscriptions, lamented the continued abandonment of the bridge construction project that connects part of Akemfa to other neighboring communities. They expressed concern that the near rainy season and flash flood worsened the situation, leading to more casualties, and called for the project to be urgently completed. Speaking during the protest, the paramount ruler of Akemfa community, Chief Obadiah John, criticized the state government for what he described as poor performance, saying the most celebrated achievement of the administration exists only on paper.
It's pathetic to say that people die here from 2012 Till date, every heavy flood took life. And today, several letters has been sent. Due process has been taken. Too many things have been put in place to make sure that everything is in order. Several Bayelsa State government and Akenfa community has met in government house, represented by the miracle deputy governor, Lawrence Erujakpo, and promise was made.
Other residents also expressed frustration over the abandoned project and the government's silence on their plight.
As we come block this road, every year now flood dam don't reach again. When the flood reach, now so our people they die for this our bridge. If you from Kaka flood dam, if you want follow Jeddah bridge, women they fall down from the Kaka with a cassava. So we they die. So now with the flood dam don't reach. So when school resume, time when school go resume don't reach. So our children they die. Our children they die. Oh, I beg government.
This bridge project began in 2010, which I if I can remember very 2010, and it's done by NDDC. But at the point they abandoned the bridge. But to cut the whole story short, I remember about 2 years ago, the MD of NDDC, Samuel Ogboko, came to government house and met with our miracle governor, His Excellency Senator Doyediri, which this bridge and Samagaria Bridge, these are two abandoned bridges from NDDC, and it was handed over to the state government for completion, and the governor accepted these two projects that is going to complete the two projects.
When contacted, the Bayelsa State representative of the NDDC, Mr. Dimaru Deyabofa, admitted that the commission currently has over 1,000 abandoned projects across the region, adding that protest may not be the most effective way to address the issue. Meanwhile, efforts to reach the Bayelsa State government media handlers for comment were unsuccessful, as calls to their phones were not answered at the time of filing this report. The people of Akenfa say they will continue to demand government intervention until the long abandoned bridge is completed and their community is made safe again. Friday, Ebimobowe Peter, Trust TV News, Yenagoa.
Now, the House of Representatives has expressed deep concern over the growing presence of unidentified and ununiformed security personnel at checkpoints across the southeast and south-south regions of the country, warning that the situation poses a grave national security risk and undermines public trust. Raising the motion as a matter of urgent public importance, Rep. Ibe Okwara Osonwa drew attention to the unprecedented raids of security officers, particularly from the Nigeria Police Force and the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC), manning roadblocks and conducting stop-and-search operations in plain clothes, jeans, or incomplete uniforms, often without name tags or identifiable ranks. The lawmaker noted that such practices contravene the Nigeria Police Act 2020 and establishes operational guidelines which mandates proper uniform adherence and visible identification for accountability and transparency in policing. Members cautioned that the situation could worsen as the country approaches the festive season when many Nigerians travel to and fro from the southeast and south-south regions, increasing interactions with security operatives. He observed that failure to enforce uniform and identification protocols damages the reputation of security agencies and erodes the already fragile trust between the forces and the citizens they are meant to protect. Following deliberations, the House mandated the Inspector General of Police and the Commandant General of the NSCDC to immediately enforce existing laws requiring all officers on checkpoints, patrols, and stop-and-search duties to appear in full uniform with visible names, ranks, and identification tags. The Nigeria Police Force has arrested 9 suspects and dismantled several gun-running and arms supply syndicates operating across Nasarawa, Plateau, Kaduna, and Taraba State in the past month. Force Public Relations Officer, CSP Benjamin Hundein, disclosed this on Thursday in Abuja, noting that the operations led to the recovery of a large cache of firearms and ammunition. Recovered items include 7 AK-47 rifles, 2 AK-49 rifles, 5 pump-action rifles, 15 magazines, 1 locally fabricated AK-47 rifle, and 1 short rifle. Others are locally made pistol, 1 axe, 6 machetes, 615 rounds of live ammunition of various caliber, and 14 expanded cartridges. According to Hundein, operatives of the intelligence response team arrested the suspect following credible intelligence. Now, commuters using Nigeria's first light rail system have applauded the federal government's transportation subsidy in the Federal Capital Territory, describing it as a major relief for residents connecting the city center to satellite towns. They have also called for more coaches to enable more people benefit from the service. Habibat Ajayi has more.
The Abuja Light Rail, commissioned by President Bola Tinubu on the May 27, 2024, offers a 20-minute ride to the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. Following the commissioning, the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike announced 2 months of free rides, which ended on July 27th.
A public request and a challenge to Nyesom Wike. Today, then I did not know that it will be able to deliver this project on time. I said, don't give me land. Mr. Landlord, give me the assurance that I will be able to ride on the metro line. He laughed, nodded his head. I am very proud that today you deliver on that promise.
Despite challenges in the city's transportation system, many commuters say the metro line has eased movements, reduced travel time, and provided a safe alternative to road transport.
I stayed at the airport, a village beside the airport called Bassa. A lot of Nigerians need what I call a subsidy. It has really helped the public to ease the movement of transportation.
Train service has been quite interesting. It came at the right time because you know how things are very hostile and very hard for people. So it has come to ease our movement. Now we don't spend as much as we used to spend because for now it's free. So we just come here, then take we'll come to the parts where we are and take the train to this place, then from here to our offices. So it's really very seamless and we enjoy it.
Actually, myself and my family, we went to town. I reside around the airport. I stay at Bassa village. So my wife, she has not had the experience of a train before. And because of that, I decided to take this side so she can enjoy the train.
It's actually a good experience. Yeah, it's actually a good experience. It saves my transport, that I will save, so it's a good experience for me.
However, passengers are appealing for more coaches and improved scheduling to accommodate the growing number of daily users. They also raised concerns about how far substations are from key residential areas along the route.
So wish we could get it to other parts of the metropolis. If we can get it to other parts, we'll be very, very happy.
As much as some passengers still stand inside the train, there is need for more coaches to be attached to be able to accommodate more passengers for convenience.
You can see most of us are standing, so maybe if the timing can be increased, maybe from morning twice in the morning, in the afternoon, because most of us are actually standing, and a lot of us work in the airport. You get, I say that we should make more time for the train.
What I would just advise is if they can make it more easier, like provide it for other places too, not only in Abuja. Other states can also get some things like this. At least it will be easy for people, because it's very easy for us, especially we staying from far going to work every day. This makes it very easy, more easier, and it saves our money a lot.
As Abuja's light rail continues to redefine urban mobility, commuters say the initiative marks a positive step towards modern and sustainable transportation in the FCT. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
A late afternoon fire outbreak has destroyed more than 500 stalls at Shuwaki Market in Gari local government area of Kano State. According to a statement by the public relations officer of the Kano State Fire Service, Saminu Yusuf Abdullahi, the incident occurred around 3:25 p.m. on Wednesday. Abdullahi said shortly after he received an emergency call, a crew on duty from the Dambata fire station was immediately dispatched to the scene. He added that the firefighters successfully contained the blaze, preventing it from spreading to other parts of the market. The service attributed the cause of the fire to the suspected activities of individuals believed to be intoxicated residents of the market area. Although no lives were lost in the incident, the fire service, however, reiterated its warning against unsafe practices that could lead to fire outbreaks, particularly in public markets across the state. Now, a renewed call for stronger collaboration between Africa and China took center stage at this year's Abuja Forum. The meeting, hosted by the Gusau Institute in partnership with Zhejiang Normal University's Institute of African Studies, brought together policymakers, diplomats, and academics to discuss development and security cooperation. Trust TV's Dokas Yakubu reports.
The Abuja Forum, jointly hosted by the Gusau Institute and Zhejiang Normal University's Institute of African Studies, is an annual platform that promotes China-Africa cooperation in defense, security, development, capacity building, trade, and technology. Discussions focus on driving the goals of the China-Africa Cooperation 2035 agenda, with emphasis on sustainable growth, peace, and shared prosperity. This year's edition, themed Deepening the Implementation of the China-Africa Cooperation 2035, reaffirmed the forum's commitment to mutual development and strategic partnership.
Our institute is formed in interact with other institutes throughout the world. And we found this Zhejiang University the right group that we can collaborate with in Asia.
Panelists emphasized stronger collaboration in defense, security, economic growth, and technology between both sides.
What is significant to note here is, one, how we are going to improve on our peace and security using our bilateral relationship with the Chinese, and also how we're going to translate our agriculture from farm to market in terms of mechanization. And finally, also how we're going to use some of the technologies on renewable energy, on grid modernization.
The farmers are the voiceless. They don't have the voice to be able to do the right thing. So we are the voice, we the researchers. So we want them to be able to have that voice, to teach us how we can move from farm to market, how theories can be used to create wealth.
China-Africa Energy Cooperation is not merely about the flow of capital and technology. It is a resonance of development philosophies and a connection between our peoples. From China's own energy transition journey to the green projects jointly built in Africa, countless stories have proven that trust can transcend borders. and collaboration can illuminate the future.
Also speaking, Brigadier General Abubakar Sadiq and Nafisa Ad, retired, highlighted China's growing role in counter-terrorism efforts in the Sahel while calling for a more coordinated approach.
The counter-terrorism landscape in the Sahel is defined by the need for a multifaceted response that goes beyond military intervention. Effective counter-terrorism strategies must integrate elements of socio-economic development, community engagement, the rule of law, respect for human rights, and commitment to inclusive governance. Failure to address the underlying drivers of extremism will result in a continuous cycle of violence and insecurity.
The China-Africa partnership continues to expand through economic projects, policy exchanges, and joint research, all aimed at advancing the China-Africa Cooperation 2035 framework for shared prosperity. Dorcas Yakubu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The United Kingdom Supreme Court has dismissed an appeal by Process and Industrial Development Limited, PNID, affirming that the Federal Republic of Nigeria is entitled to recover its legal cost in sterling GBP rather than in naira following its successful challenge to a multi-billion-dollar arbitral award. Delivering judgment on 22nd October 2025, the President of the Supreme Court unanimously upheld earlier rulings of the Commercial Court and the Court of Appeal that costs should be paid in the same currency in which Nigeria's legal obligations were incurred. The case arose after Nigeria successfully overturned 2 arbitral awards granted to PNID worth over $11 billion, including interest, on grounds of fraud and public policy violations. In pursuing the challenges, Nigeria incurred legal expenses amounting to £44.2 million billed and paid in sterling through 116 invoices between November 2019 and November 2024. PNID had argued that the cost order should be made in naira, claiming that paying in pounds will give Nigeria a windfall due to the sharp depreciation of the naira since 2023, when it was allowed to float freely. However, the Supreme Court rejected that argument. In a joint judgment delivered by Lord Hodge and Lady Simler, with the concurrence of Lord Reed, Stephen, and Richards, the court held that an order for cost is not intended to compensate for loss, but rather represents a statutory indemnity for expenses incurred in litigation. And now in business, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has suffered a drop in both production and earnings, losing about 380 billion in September 2025 when compared to the previous month, according to its latest month performance report. Figures from the September report showed that the company's total revenue stood at 4.2 trillion, lower than the 4.65 trillion posted in August, representing a month-on-month loss of about 380 billion naira. Profit after tax also declined from 539 billion in August to 216 billion in September. The reports indicated that total crude oil and condensate production averaged 1.61 million barrels per day in September, compared to 1.65 million barrels per day in August 2025. NNPC explained that the shortfall was caused by planned maintenance activities, including those at NLNG, alongside the phased recovery of previous short-in asset and delays in commencement of operations at OMLS 71 and 72. Data from the report showed that crude oil production slipped from 1.39 mbpd to 1.37 mbpd, while condensate output dropped from 0.26 mbpd to 0.24 mbpd. Now, members of the Rotary District 9127 have organized a mass immunization outreach aimed at improving public health awareness and strengthening community participation in vaccination programs. The outreach is part of activities to mark this year's World Polio Day, established by Rotary International to commemorate the birth of Dr. Jonas Salk, who led the team that developed the first effective polio vaccine. It is an all-Nigerian Rotary International event hosted by District 9127, one of the 6 Rotary International districts in Nigeria, with all other 5 district governors in Abuja. Trust TV's Noel Sampson, who was at the outreach, now reports.
Although Nigeria was declared wide polio virus free in 2020, the country continues to record cases of circulating vaccine-derived polio virus type 2. Between January 2024 and March 2025, health authorities confirmed 122 CVDPV2 cases across 15 states, with 10 new cases recorded in 2025 alone. Experts say insecurity, low routine immunization coverage, and vaccine hesitancy remain major obstacles, particularly in northern states such as Kebbi, Sokoto, and Zamfara. It is against this backdrop that Rotary International continues to push for total eradication of the disease through sustained vaccine campaigns and advocacy.
We have promised all the children of the world that we'll reach them, that we are going to stop polio across the world. And we have been doing this for over 40 years, and we are on it and will continue to do it. Until the last child is immunized or out of polio, our promise to the world has not been met. So it is on that note that we are meeting, we are campaigning, we are talking, we are seeking advocacy, we are going out to meet everybody, every member, to ensure that the children are immunized. And that is why we are spending, Russia has spent over $2 billion on immunization across the world. We have spent over $300 million onto Nigeria as at January.
The Rotarians all over Nigeria especially have gone around making sure that the health workers are mobilized, and you see them going around houses. Why? Just because we want to keep Nigeria off polio. And that is what we are really doing. That is why we're doing this sensitization since on Sunday, which is tomorrow, that is the main polio day. So that is why you say the investment is not for nothing. But the problem is because we still have 2 countries that are still having polio. This is Afghanistan and then Pakistan. And we all travel everywhere. So there's no how. That is why we cannot just rest. Because every child, we must protect every child across the globe. And then until it is 0, that is why. So this investment is very, very working. It's really working.
With many communities in northern Nigeria still battling vaccine resistance, health workers continue to play a crucial role in convincing parents to allow their children to be immunized.
Our staff do go more a mobilization, village to village, to mobilize mothers concerning oral polio and what the side effects of polio is all about. So they encourage them to immunize their children, especially the polio vaccine and BCG vaccine and other vaccines that is available in the facility.
Beneficiaries at the outreach expressed appreciation for the initiative, noting that the exercise has increased their understanding of the importance of routine immunization.
It's the first time that I'm collecting it for him. So I'm actually happy that he collected because of disease that is around and some of the infection. Before I give birth, I've always seen some children collecting it, which I don't understand the reason why they've collected. But today I've understand and have experience of it.
I was a member through giving this vaccine, and I enjoy it for my children. My children enjoy the vaccine because they used to encourage us that we should be telling others when we are giving it, because this vaccine stop bone leg, it stop fever, it stop many things in their body. So I like it. That's why I'm collecting it for my children. I collected it all for my children.
Highlights of the events included the administration of polio vaccines to children and public enlightenment sessions for mothers on the need for complete immunization. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now in foreign, the hunger crisis in Gaza remains catastrophic 2 weeks after the ceasefire took effect. The UN Health Agency has warned as international aid groups demanded Israel stop blocking humanitarian deliveries. Supplies entering the besieged enclave are not meeting the nutritional needs of the people living there, aid group announced on Thursday, while the UN's World Food Programme said supplies into Gaza were still far short of its daily targets of 2,000 tons because only 2 crossings into the Palestinian territory are open. At least a quarter of Gaza's population, including 11,500 pregnant women, is starving, the UN warned on Wednesday, saying the effect of malnutrition will have generational impacts in Gaza. A famine was declared in Gaza City and its surrounding area in August, with the Integrated Food Security Phase classification saying at the time that more than 500,000 people in the Gaza Strip faced catastrophic conditions. A U.S. brokered ceasefire took effect on October 10th. As part of the ceasefire agreement, humanitarian aid deliveries were to be ramped up, with the UN aiming for approximately 2,000 tons of aid entering on a daily basis, but only approximately 750 metric tons of foods are entering the Gaza Strip daily, the WFP announced Tuesday, because only 2 of the Israeli-controlled crossings into Gaza are operational. Now it's time for us to join Joseph Peter for more news on sports.
The Super Falcons are set to face Benin Amazon in the first leg of their 2026 Women Africa Cup of Nations qualifying match at the 25,000 capacity Stade de Kegwe in Lomé, Togo. The reigning champions are looking to secure a comfortable win that will make the return leg in Nigeria a formality. Head coach Justin Madugu has 19 players at his disposal and has promised the squad will do everything possible to earn a ticket to defend their title won in Morocco this summer. With Jennifer Echegini out, Madugu is likely to start US-based player Deborah Abiodun alongside captain Rasheedat Ajibade and Chrissy Ucheibe in midfield. Goalkeeper Chiamaka Nadozie will marshal a defense line consisting of Michelle Alozie, Tosin Dimehin, Osinachi Ohale and Ashley Plumter. The attack will be led by impact players Esther Okoronko, Chiwendu Ihezue, 6-time Africa Player of the Year Asisat Oshola, new face Joy Omewa, and China-based Folashade Ijamilusi. The match kicks off at 3 p.m. Togo time, 4 p.m. Nigeria time, with Gambian referee Ngum Fatao in charge. A win will not only edge the Super Falcons closer to defending their title, but also prepare them for next year's Women AFCON in Morocco, which will also serve as a qualifier for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup in Brazil. That's Sport News. I'm Joseph Peter.
With that, we have come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to watch and catch us across all our social media platforms for more news, programs, and documentaries. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa from me and the crew. Thanks for watching.